All right, let's do it. Jeremy Newsom.
What's going on, everyone?
Absolutely loving this. So, yeah, so the structure for the day, if you're just coming in, Jeremy's also with us. He's at the airport. So he'll be listening along and throwing in his analysis when he can. And I'm just kind of here moderating for the most part. He's the real expert. You guys throw out the tickers. You know the drill. This is the current list that we'll go through. But as always, this is yours. So you let me know what you want to look at. All right, so here's the S&P 500. First thing I noticed is a big volume spike. Guys, don't think anything about it. Every name that you look at, I could go down the list. You're going to have more of a volume spike today. It's just the quadruple witching. I guess it's triple witching now, but it's just rebalancing in the ETFs and things like that. So if you see some crazy volume on the open and the close today, it's nothing out of the ordinary, just part of what happens at the last or the third Friday at the end of every quarter. So it happens 4 times a year. Absolutely. All right. So really quickly, just on the technical analysis, the S&P 500, just doing what it does, right? Continuing up. Interesting candle today, but again, I don't think I put too much emphasis on this. I'll stay bullish above all major moving averages. I mean, you can go to any time frame. We're holding well. So just not a lot of volatility out there right now. Things are kind of creeping up. Very interested to see what happens come the first of the year. And what I like to do, I know all the indices are going to look very similar, but I like to see maybe which ones are. So the Qs look a little stronger. So always look at relativity. Qs look stronger. Russell kind of similar to the S&P. And then you have the Dow, a little bit weaker, but can be expected if the Qs are up that much. So all in all, everything's pretty much up, pretty bullish. And that's really all I have to say about that. So
hey, Blake, here's a question. Do you ever trade the indices with options or anything?
What's that?
Do you ever trade the option, like the indices with options, like the SPY or the Dow or anything?
You know, I used to hedge with them. And so, you know, if I was really weighted to the long side, I would buy some SPY puts to give me some of that delta in the portfolio. But I don't typically directionally trade with them. Why? What are you thinking? Do we need one?
Oh, no. I was just totally wondering. I was just purely guessing. I did a IWM out of the money call. What day was that? After we pulled back a little bit, that first black candle, I didn't get the big one, unfortunately. But yeah, I bought the 165 January call.
Oh, nice. So my question is, what is it? Why did you pick the Russell over, say, the Qs or the S&P?
That's a good question. I think it just because the IWM wasn't at all-time highs yet, and I just didn't know how much farther the Qs or the SPY would go. So I could kind of have like a judgment-based area of what the IWM would do.
Got it. You know, something else I was looking at, and I'm not sure what all names are in there, but some of these, I think some of these cloud names that I've been looking at off the bottom. If one thing that I do think about is if I see a few of those, just throwing out names, I'm not sure if they're in the Russell or not, but like ZS, you know, Workday, some of these that are kind of forming these double bottoms. If I'm seeing a lot of the same thing, sometimes I'll just like buy the Russell or something like that, kind of get exposure to some of them. So I like it. All right, team. So here is Square, ticker symbol SQ. This is the daily. A lot of noise with my moving averages, but we have had 3 days down. The thing that scares me about this is the markets have been moving up and this has been pulling back. And let me look at PayPal really quickly. And so PayPal's been doing very well. I've been seeing you guys have seen me draw these trend lines a lot recently. Nice inverted head and shoulders right here on PayPal. Easy to see after the fact, right? So, you know, maybe SQ does the same thing, and this was it today. You also have support from the moving average, so you guys know all about that checklist. So if I start checking things off, I have one moving average, have this bottom of this trend line. You know, Amazon did the same thing for a bit. This trend line right here. And so just using that on SQ, I think today was a decent place to take a stab. But the one thing I don't like is some of SQ's siblings / relatives, whatever you want to call it, like PayPal. They're moving up with the market, SQ not so much. And so that scares me a little bit. You know, this would be one that I would sell puts on, just trading like this. Do we have anything on SQ? Let's see.
No, I don't have anything on SQ. I did have some put sales that I bought back, but I don't have anything active.
Got it. Yeah, so folks, because of the relative weakness in SQ like this, I would sell puts, and I actually haven't looked at the option chain on this, so I would need to look and see. I wonder what the premium is down around this area. So I'll come back and look at that. I'll let you guys know in Slack if I'm going to set something up on that. But, maybe that's the play. Or if you wanted to do this, just in anticipation, the double bottom, maybe some like larger time frame head shoulders or inverted head shoulders right here. So a couple things you can look at on SQ. I do own some shares long term. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind selling some put. Even if I get put that, I'll take them down here. I think I could trade around that pretty well, especially with the help of Newsom and Falco and Thomas and all you other fantastic traders. So
do you separate your accounts, Blake, like long term and like different brokers, or are they all in the same broker?
I do separate my long term. My swing trades and day trades will be in the same one.
Me too.
Yeah.
I want to make it harder to log into, so I don't do anything crazy or impulsive.
Exactly. Well, I had the same issue where I would try and trade around like positions for long-term stuff. I don't mind doing that for swing trades. I'll work into trades a lot or do that whole hybrid thing. But man, it's a really bad habit for to trade the long-term stuff actively. So yeah, I'll put that different account. All right, so that's the analysis on SQ. It may actually be looking for something on PayPal. I'll keep an eye on PayPal at SQ pretty closely. Dollar Tree. Oh, nice. Nice. So earnings, didn't love earnings. This is always a huge key for me. This first day on earnings, what happens? What a gap and go. I'm sure there was plenty of trading range here. I don't actually remember trading this day. Nice push down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Makes sense. Push up, holding here, nice little candle. I hate to say it, folks, but why overcomplicated? I could see Dollar Tree doing something like this. You guys were trading FedEx intraday, and we were kind of looking at something like this intraday as well in terms of patterns. You guys know I'm always long bias when I go to swing trading. So let's look at the weekly. Bounce off the 200 simple moving average. These things have a personality that dip below 1, 2. Yeah, I wouldn't. 3 weeks up after this, I would definitely look to buy it back off this trend line if I'm going to buy it. This is going to be a harder trade, especially for you folks that like more confirmation, because I'd want this back down around this 93 level, and I'm not sure how wide my stop would have to be. I'll analyze this a little bit more. If you guys are looking to add into Dollar Tree or put on a pure swing trade, definitely let me know, and I'll give a more detailed analysis. But if I find something, look, this is what I like to think of as institutional buying, right? Keep buying these higher lows, especially when you're not trading above all major moving averages. This tends to be the pattern that works for these stocks. So I would say that's a bullish sign for ticker symbol DLTR on that.
Yeah, I like that. That looks pretty, man. I like that gap, like that volume, those inside candles. That's pretty.
I do too. And even when you drill into the hourly, I would just try this, back here at this 92-ish level. So we'll see, because I think it'll keep doing that more than likely. Jeremy, you just asked me if I am recording to the cloud. Yep. You probably asked me that a while back, but here is XP. You know what?
What does Jeremy, this company do?
I was about to say, I am so embarrassed because you've been talking about this one for a couple of days, and I have yet to look into it, which is so unlike me. So let's do it now. So here is ticker symbol XP in FinViz. Not a lot of data. In fact, no data. But they do have a link. Let's check it out. Can't read that. Transform the financial market to improve people's lives. Oh, man. Jeremy, I'm not sure.
Oh, it's like one of those look at all those buzzwords at the top.
It feels like this thing's gonna get crushed. Are you in this one?
No, I'm not. I did day trade it, and I'm thinking about getting in though.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the technicals, it looks fantastic. But I'll dive into this one a little bit more, folks. I think I'm gonna have to go into the Yahoo finances and the Google finances because obviously there's not enough information. I will say it's sometimes rare for FinViz, or sometimes they won't have a ton of information on new IPOs, but they usually have more than this. So asset management in Brazil. So Brazilian company. Other Brazilian companies that we traded, some of these like STNE. I do own this one long term. Here's another fantastic trend line, folks. And so once you understand the personalities on some of these stocks, you don't want to trade the breakout. So I never trade this one on a breakout. Always buy the dips on this trend line. Here's the thing. One day, that's not going to work, and you'll get hit. But what you hope for is very similar to, say, like put sales, naked put sales. Let it work 20 times, and the one time that it doesn't, okay, you get back some of your gains. The other one, I forget what the name is, but it's also a payment company. So maybe some of these Brazilian stocks getting hot. All right, so here is Shake Shack. I do have some of this in long-term portfolio. I don't actually have a straight-up swing trade on it, but I think we're getting some analysis now where we could throw some stuff on. Oh, is it BRZU, Dustin? Oh, it's the 3X. That's what I'm talking about. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it big, right, Dustin? So, and Dustin, let me know what you did on Roku today. So here's Shake Shack, folks. Nice little double bottom here. Good volume. Some of these food names like Shake Shack, Beyond Meat, General Mills, any of these other ones, if I do think the market's going to roll over a little bit, these don't, for me personally, I don't tend to think that these will necessarily go with them all the time. In fact, like the Chipotles of the world sometimes have gone up, Mickey D's for maybe some different reasons. So, with markets at all-time highs, I really do like some of these, like Shake Shack, which I do think is a $100 stock anyways. And so we can definitely look at some levels on this. Just held it in this. Let me see how that one finished really quickly since we're here. Thomas says, I'm pretty sure Dalio has got a lot of positions in the Brazilian market. Does he? That wouldn't surprise me at all. Also think Warren Buffett is in this one, right? Stanco, or however you pronounce it. It's not as cheap as it once was because we were looking at this back here. Now it's all the way up here. It's doubled, so it's a little bit more expensive. But it can keep going. Is he still in STN? Yeah. Well, if he was in it once, I'm pretty sure he's always going to be in it. Speaking of Buffett stocks, there's RH. All right, let me get back on track. Sorry. So here is Shake Shack. So a couple things. I always like to do a retracement within the weekly for a swing trade. Stop below a weekly. It's typically what I like to do. So yeah, I think something like this, and I'll post in Slack exact levels. But I wouldn't mind giving this and we also have the 10 simple moving average. We're about midway through earnings cycle and a gap down. And so if we start speculating for this earnings or just a retracement, now's really the time. 50 simple up here. So plenty of room to manage risk and hit some targets if we get filled on this, say, Monday or Tuesday. And stop here. We'll see ATR 1.5, 60.12, 57.12. Yeah. That setup, that exact setup right there would be fine. And Thomas says, talking about ticker symbol STNE, yeah, he doesn't really swap positions all that fast to my knowledge. Yeah, does he sell any of them? I know he probably has at some point, but curious. So on Shake Shack, folks, like I said, I do own some shares, and I'll be looking for something very, very similar to this. I've been trying to trade the same pattern in Beyond Meat a couple times. You guys saw me miss this by 4 cents. And it looks like if I would have left that open, I would have gotten filled today with a beautiful candle. Uh-oh. Did Jeremy? I think he canceled.
I also canceled it. How long do you normally leave something open like that?
It depends. If it comes that close to my entry and then just pushes away like that, I usually go ahead and cancel it and give it a few days. Because a few days, I want to see if it runs and follows through. That usually tells me my analysis was right. I was just wrong on my entry. And so I usually want a few days to kind of reset it. Because here's the problem, or what's happened to me in the past. If, say, I miss this by 4 cents and this runs for 2 days and I leave it or, chase it a little bit, they tend to have a little bit bigger pullback on, especially when they're down on the bottom like this. When I say bottom, I mean just below, some of these major moving averages. But with today's close, I don't hate something like this. So I'll analyze that, see if I can put some good numbers on it. Look at the hourlies. This wick, so maybe something above that wick. Could probably move this up a little bit because this one is a momentum name, so it should go. And I would think, folks, this would be a pretty quick trade, whether I lose on it or make money on it. But yeah, I think I'm going to go back in on something like this. Let me look at the weekly. Whew. Let me analyze that a little bit more, folks. Just want to make sure. So that was talking about Shake Shack. Here's ticker symbol INO. Man, I feel like we used to trade this one back in the day. Let me hop out to the weekly. Yeah, this makes sense. We've traded this one before. So when I look at this, the first thing I see really is this has a habit of pushing up, coming right back down, pushing up, coming right back down. And it makes sense, right? It is one of these healthcare names, and I'm assuming it's not labeled as a biotech, but I'm assuming it is the way it's trading. But with that being said, folks, it has a long ways to go. I think this was, I remember trading it. No, it wasn't that far back. Anyways, long story short, definitely areas here that we can trade around. So that's the weekly. Let me dive back into the daily. Nice push up here. And it actually closed pretty well above the 200. Beautiful gap and go. Man, did anyone day trade this one? Wow. I'd have to look at the 5s or the 15s, but it looks good. Nice mid-range retrace today. For me personally, I want to see this one. Give me a little bit more data. These pharmaceutical companies sometimes can scare me. Because if I do a swing trade, that means I'm willing to hold it overnight. And obviously, I'm not going to risk the bank on it. But what I would do is look for a little bit smaller candle that I could trade off of after I get some range. So let me go ahead and change this to this yellow gold flag. And I'll come up with something else. But folks, I personally, for the way I trade, I don't see anything that I would love to trade on this right now. But I'm sure something will shape up here Wednesday, Thursday, next week, something like that. So same thing on ticker symbol PRTK. This one gapped into the 200. Gap and go into that. Retrace here. Yeah, I'd want this one back above the 200 and to hold for probably 2 weeks before I looked at something like that. So maybe we're into 2020 when we set something up like that. And so I don't want to steer you guys in the wrong direction on some of these pharmaceutical names because it's definitely not my specialty. And I would trade technicals. Man, this whole sector has just been hot. The only one that I traded recently was CRISPR Therapeutics. Oh, man, I wish I would have seen that candle yesterday. Jeremy, why didn't you tell me about this one? So I did take a swing trade on CRISPR after seeing this earnings. Bam, beautiful candle here, and I took that. Boom, boom. It was like a 3R trade. Really, it kind of helped my month. But nice candle here, and so we may get some follow through here. But long story short is this whole sector, we've looked at it a few times. Hot, 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 hot. And when this sector goes, it can absolutely go. Gilead's kind of lagging. Maybe that one's ready to go again. Pfizer, big volume today, which makes sense, right? Triple witching or whatever we call it now. So that's my analysis on INO and PRTK. Out of those two, INO looks better, and I think it's more of a household name if any of these are. All right, Match.com, ticker symbol MTCH for you Tinder folks out there. For you single ladies and gents, especially if you're international, Tinder's the thing, right? So you guys know I hate shorting vice names, and dating apps are totally a vice name. Great. So what I see when I just originally see this is, hey, great sentiment. Oh man, we talk about this look all the time, right? Gap down that finishes up, beautiful retrace. Most recent one I've seen like that, ticker symbol FLIR. And so we know it takes a little while for these to consolidate, but when this breaks out, folks, it will break out. So keep this one on your radar as well. Beautiful candle. Going back to MTCH or average catch up for a swing trade. Now, could I miss it? Absolutely. If I was investing, maybe I would have added some into this. But for now, for a pure swing trade, my timing has to be pretty precise. And so I need to let this pull back in. But I like what's happening here. This tells me great sentiment, great sentiment. What a gap and go. Wow. And so I want to let this catch up, especially with markets trading at all-time highs for as long as it has. Let this one pull back, not chasing this for a pure swing trade. Great look, though. Take some more BIDU. We analyzed this a little bit in the day trading room, mainly because Jeremy brought it to my attention. Nice look here. So, again, you guys know I love this time of year. And for swing trades, great earnings, closed nicely, beautiful. Pulled back here. If this would have wicked through this earnings day range and closed back up, that would have been my signal. Didn't happen. But here, try it again. Yeah, it's very bullish. Let the 10 simple. Jeremy, do you have something set up on this if you can hear me? I heard you talk about it.
I only have out of the money calls. I didn't do anything official, so I did the 130 March out of the money calls.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, back when I had that first pop and little pullback. But
right in here?
Yeah. And then I also did a swing trade with shares, but only half an hour because I already had some exposure on it.
Yep.
No, so I don't have anything official, man. So we can. I love the trend. It looks really pretty.
Yeah, agreed. I would want to see it dip back under the 200. The larger the moving average for me, the more times I want to see it go on dates with it. And so like the 10, maybe just one time it touches and then moves on. 50, maybe 2, 3, 100, maybe 3, 4, 200, maybe 5, 6. And so I think this needs to hang out here for a little bit. I mean, I have examples all over the board. I think Activision did it. You see all this right here around Activision. And that's just one example. And so for BIDU, maybe it needs to hang out here for a little bit. And so I want to see what it does when it goes under, over, and then I'd probably trade something. We'll call it January 7th. It's January 6th or 7th. I'll just throw that out there for now. But I love what Jeremy did because he's doing the same thing, right? Beautiful gap and go closed here. So he's got the sentiment read on it. And what he said is, he said, hey, I don't think I can be – I'm trying to read his mind. This is how I would trade it. Hey, I don't think I can be exactly right around here, but I know I can be about right. And so what he did is said buy calls, March, into earnings. And so whether it wicks down or this retrace, beautifully done. Love it. Has it been down for two earnings cycles? Absolutely. So again, folks, when I start checking things off the list for possible trades, when something's been in the dumps for two earnings cycles, comes out of that, great close on earnings day. There's a lot of things that's checking off the list. And Jeremy said I'm a mind reader. So, hey, when you've just been hanging out with each other for 2 years, pretty much every day, it happens. Dustin says, talking about Roku. And we could talk about Roku today, guys. I'll go ahead and add it to the list because I'll start flying through here and we'll have a little bit of time. So that was BIDU, and I'll speed it up a little bit because I'm being a little long-winded today because guess what? It's the last session we have of the year and the decade. So I just don't let you guys go. So here's Workday, kind of what we were just talking about with the Russell. A lot of these cloud names like Zscaler, Workday. What's Splunk doing? Ooh, Splunk's crushing. I forgot they had good earnings. OKTA. Slava, let's go ahead and look at OKTA since we're looking at some of these. So a little bit stronger. Couldn't hold that breakout today. I think this one probably dips right back under the 200. Slava, what I would do on OKTA is see if I could grab this back down towards this mid 109 range because it's holding on to this weekly 50. And so maybe that's how, see how this isn't super clean on the daily and for moving averages. And so maybe you could trade this one off the weekly and look for something back into this, say 109.40, 109.50 range. Absolutely. Steven's requesting Cisco, you know it, my friend. But yeah, buy the dip on this OKTA, fantastic company, good growth company. But if we're looking at its personality, it tends to dip below the 200. So I know it's held right here, but I would wait for something down here or, sell some puts in that area on a nice down day.
So that's sell some puts play? Is that something you do a lot?
Yes, on names that I want to own long term. So like Zscaler, I think was the last one that I did a naked put on. Tesla was another one. I've done it on SQ. Yeah, I've done it quite a few times.
Nice.
But I tend to do that, like I said, on names that I want to own for sure. I kind of learned my lesson to be a little bit more conservative on them after Q4 last year. So, which was great because I still have a trading account and I recovered everything, by Q2 from that. So fantastic learning lesson for sure. All right. So just in case you guys are wondering, that is one of my rules for selling puts, naked puts, is something that I do want to own long term. And not only am I willing to own it if I get put, but I'm also able to own it because they will margin call you quick. All right, so let's go back to work day. Great candle today, big volume. Yeah, I don't love where this one is, so I think I'm gonna have to give it some time. This candle may have been something to trade off of. Yeah, so folks, I'll wait on WDAY. I think I would trade options around that if I were to do anything. Starbucks, guess what Starbucks is? Vice play. Jason, if you're in here, I know you've been trading this for quite some time off really this candle, this push into the 200 here. I'm sure you could do some wave counts from down here. And you could start you had earnings here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days into this, held. Yep. And so again, folks, when things are below some of these major moving averages or flirting with the 200, whoop, Jeremy's giving us a wave count. Sometimes they don't break out and trade as cleanly. So here's the difference. To the left of the screen, see how Starbucks trades? No one's trapped. Once you get down here, you have some people underwater and they tend to get bought on the dips. So same thing, I would wait and buy this on dips. If it gets above the 100, buy the dip. But it's Starbucks. I'm not going to be shorting Starbucks. Speaking of Starbucks, I got to look at LK. You guys know I'm pretty bullish on KRUS. There are some extreme risk with that. But LK, I also think it's a $50 stock when I look at numbers. And price action starting to confirm that a little bit, at least to the bullish side. So with Starbucks, absolutely. I don't have anything for now that I would set up because I don't think this breakout will hold. And this is a name, especially where it is, that I would buy on dip. So again, I think I'm going to need a few days on that one. Oh, Pinterest, I also sold puts on, Jeremy. Naked puts.
Me too.
But I actually, when I did this, when I sold the last naked puts, I think I did it here and I just closed it back into here. I was like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because what I was thinking on selling back here was, I think I was very aggressive with them too. I sold like the 27s or something. Because I was like, even if I get put those, that is something that I can absolutely trade around before earnings. It's a little bit different trade there, but I'll take that all day long. Do we have anything set up on Pinterest? Nope. Oh man, we only have one open. PD. So the answer here is yes on Pinterest. And reason is we're back above this 10 simple. I wouldn't worry about that volume just because it's triple witching. But I actually was looking, and Jeremy talked about it this day because there was one day that the markets were going up and Pinterest was not. And he said it before we even got this. I think it was this before this sell-off. Yep. This right here, and I specifically remember him because I was watching these areas, looking for a candle to try to break a low and finish high above to trade off of. And he said, oh boy, we're headed lower. Market was moving up, Pinterest moving down, and he was right. There's the bounce, and I would have to go to a smaller time frame, I think, now to trade this. Truthfully, I may just throw a fib on this bad boy and look for something right around this 1840 if we were to get it. So guys, be looking. I may send something over as an official Pinterest swing trade as well. I've been really attracted to these looks over the last couple weeks for sure. So I don't know what it is. I guess I have a type. That's my type. All right, Tarjay, beautiful. I mean, their earnings here was fantastic. And I remember talking about it this day because I was like, oh, I want to fade this. Probably one of the reasons I took gap and goes out of my, for you day traders, I took it out of my playbook Don't fade gap and goes anymore, at least for not for the time being. But I looked at the valuation on Target, and I was like, my goodness, this thing could absolutely keep going. And if you folks are wondering what I'm talking about, yes, it's a $65 billion market cap. That's billion with a B. Sells a 77 billion, but you had a price to sales under one. So this is what I remember seeing. They have more sales than they're valued on the stock market. What? And we play stocks with, price to sales of 200 sometimes. So 200 times more expensive if you're just looking at those metrics. Yeah, sales quarter over quarter. It's not a huge growth, but I mean, come on, it's Target. They, they got to grow into their growth. So price target is up towards 137, trading at 129 now. I mean, you're not going to make a gazillion dollars trading this one, but I think especially if you're good swing traders with options and things like that, so much opportunity. Great earnings here. Look at this finish. Beautiful retrace. What was that retrace? Was it a bird box retrace? And by bird box, I just mean a 618. Oh, nope. You wouldn't have gotten it from the bottom of that candle. But you would have been close. Nice close there. You could have traded this candle back into this range. Stop below that. Holding on to the 10 simple. It's going to be really hard for me to find a level to get long on Target here. But if you're in it, congrats. I would just sell, if you have 100 shares or more, I would just sell some covered calls into this, into some resistance levels that you would sell anyways, right? So good look on Target. I'm sure the weekly looks fantastic. Valuation, I mean, why not? I think this is higher than 130. Now, I won't tell you guys when or a time frame because that means I'll always be right as long as I don't have to tell you a date. But I do think it's a $140 stock at least. So congrats to you folks on Target. Just really good stuff. And this was even a retest gap, and it held on very, very nicely. Speaking of Target, why not look at Walmart? This candle right here always scares me. And it's not that I don't think, or that I think that this is going to go down aggressively. I just think when you get a candle like this on a gap up on earnings, that it's going to take at least 5 to 6 weeks to give you good levels to trade off up that, back to the upside. I think Walmart may be due for a pullback here. Maybe we see something below 116 before it finds some support again. I wouldn't say it's super bullish. I'm not sure the reward to risk to the upside on that. All right, so we looked at Tajay. Here is Zoom. Man, nice double bottom here. These are really tough on the bottom like this, especially with some of these IPOs this year. This one probably needs to dip below IPO range. By IPO range, I usually just mean that first week. Let me look at something on Zoom. Wow, it's valued at $19 billion. See, I think I would rather be in Pinterest or something than something like Zoom. Sells here. So here's a good example. We just looked at Target, and I get a lot of fundamental questions. So you guys just feel free to be like, Blake, move on. We don't care about the fundamentals, but I usually get a lot of these questions. So you guys see how this is 32 times, 32, 33 times sales where Target was under 1. You tell me which one you want on. The difference is this thing's growing at almost 100% quarter over quarter, right? So it's like doubling every year. So it could grow into this really, really quickly. And that's why you buy stocks, right? You're forward looking. Short float's okay. So you could get some breakouts and stuff like that. Guys, I think I'm going to wait. I think Zoom needs to come down a little bit, just for me personally. Here was earnings day. So let's see the sentiment on earnings day. Bam, it actually hasn't really gone below that. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I have no trade on Zoom for now. This is probably one that Jeremy will slaughter and just leave me in the dust on. But personally, I think I'm going to have to wait. I think Zoom needs to break down here. And if you look at the overall markets, right, see how this one's traded relative to the overall markets. I just don't want this to be one of the first ones to sell off. And if people really are doing the tax loss harvesting, this will be one of the first ones to sell, right? Take your losses. Go ahead and sell your losses instead of paying taxes on your gains. All right, so that is ZM. Here's ticker symbol V, because guess what? It is Finance Friday. Beautiful. Same thing. What Dustin, was it you I was talking about Visa, MasterCard, and American Express with? Doesn't American Express have some deal with Amazon? Yeah. Nice retest gap today on AXP. I also think Mike Ramsey was talking about this one. So, folks, I don't trade these a ton, but man, these are the type of businesses you want to be in long term or trade around, sell puts on, right? They're just bringing in cash. Same thing with, like, I don't know. I heard some people talking about waste management. I mean, it's trash. Everyone uses trash, right? Just fantastic companies to be a part of. So, I wouldn't necessarily trade these on breakouts, but I would definitely buy them into pullbacks on ranges. So I'm not personally going to set up anything on Visa. Yeah, absolutely. You talking about Visa, Jeremy, or waste management? Because I was flipping through quickly. Both, yeah, absolutely. Dustin says MA is the strongest. Oh yeah, I see where Jeremy says love WM. Absolutely, man. I wish I was in the garbage business. I wish I. This sounds terrible, and I know some people are gonna hate me for this. I wish I owned like a waste field. I really do. I think there's probably good. I bet there's a lot of politics in that, but I bet there's good money in it. So here is MasterCard. And yeah, Dustin, I remember us talking about this one being the strongest, and maybe not today's candle, but it's trading at all-time highs into 300. Why would it not sell off a little bit into 300? So all-time highs. You look at Visa. Ooh, I don't know, Dustin. Visa's flirting with it now. Visa may win the title when you just look at relative on the technicals, but MasterCard was winning when we last looked at it. And here's American Express lagging a little bit. So maybe American Express catches up just in terms of technicals, or maybe it could be the laggard. Either way. But man, these great companies to own long term. Absolutely. I mean, when you don't even think about that you're using the product, like your credit card, and these companies are just ching ching cha-ching cha-ching, and it's not even a conscious decision. Those, same thing with your trash, those are the companies you want to own. Absolutely. Dustin said pick one or split your investment, all three and hold. I absolutely agree, my friend. Probably the way to do it, right? And you can weight those. There's all kinds of ways to do that. All right, so guys, I'm going to keep moving. So what do we have, about 20 minutes left? Ticker symbol KL, Kirkland Lake Gold. Man, you guys know I'm terrible at trading some of these commodities or gold companies, but what a run. Here's my key, right? Here's the gap, retest gap that held. Nice candle here, retrace. I'm going to need more data from this. I mean, this was on a fantastic run, no doubt. When is next earnings? We're kind of midway through it. This is holding okay. Jeremy's agreeing with you, Dustin. Jeremy says, yeah, pretty much. Just split it up. Why not, right? That way you kind of create your own small ETF. That's some Falco type stuff right there, where you're just like trying to create your own little ETF. Yeah, so looking at the weekly here, you can see it held the 50, and it's done this multiple times. So if I were trading this, that's what I would look to do, is buy this into this area and see if I can get one or two more days of confirmation off that. I would just definitely buy this under 40 right now on this dip. Could it leave the station without me? Yes. But when it's going on a run like this, I think I would want it to, pull into my areas there. So not much to say about that. This is a little worrisome with some volume. I did get back above that, but then right back into this range. So yeah, guys, I don't think I see anything that I can pinpoint for a potential trade on this. Let me look at their fundamentals. I don't even actually know what they do. I'm sure they're a trust of some sort, maybe. $8.5 billion. I like that. The reason anytime you see a company, usually with a market cap somewhere around like 4 to 10 billion, those are companies that can move and really take off and grow into like a 20, $30 billion company. Sales of 1.25, so healthy. Price of sales, I like it. Oh my goodness, look at that growth. Yes, that totally makes sense for that. Not a huge short float, so not a lot of people betting against it. Called a couple downgrades, no big deal. Folks, I like it to the long side. It's just pick your spots. I think this would be more of one that I would scale into. And so I would create zones that I'd want to buy. 39.80s, maybe one. And then I'd want this to pull back into here or shape up for more of a swing trade type look for another ad. But the fundamentals look good on this company. No doubt about it, especially with growth like that. Ooh, I'm going to look into this a little bit more. Whose idea was this one? You guys have had some great ideas.
FYI, by the way, Blake, I know you mentioned PagerDuty earlier. We had that set up on the weekly options newsletter, and I did cancel that one.
Okay, so this is canceled.
Yeah, it was supposed to trigger today, and they got 20 cents away. But yeah, man,
we're missing a lot of these. We're being too precise. I do like this one as well. And the reason is gap down here on earnings, right? Nice retest gap, and it held. And so you always want to keep an eye on those levels. And a lot of these retail names did this before they went on these big runs. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but right. I'm not sure if that was, no, I think this was earnings. I'd have to go back through some of them, but same thing on PagerDuty, and I'd have to go through the fundamentals on that. And if I have time, I'll go look at it, but I do like that. Big push down, well below IPO day, or IPO week rather, but love that for an earnings play because these can absolutely just rocket from these levels. All right, so we looked at V, we looked at KL. If anyone knows more about this, I'm gonna have a lot of time come the holidays. So I'm definitely gonna nerd out on some of these and look at these. BABA, what are they having, an 8-to-1 split?
That's what I heard, man. 8-to-1.
So it's gonna make it like a $30 stock or something like that.
I can't wait.
I know. So people buying into anticipation on that. Plus, I mean, we saw this. We sniffed this out on the earnings day. Just so much clean buying intraday. And I day traded this thing like a rookie when I really should have just been swing trading it. And same thing with, say, like JD.com. And so with that being said, I do want to look at some of these. With that being said, on BABA, I'm going to wait on the split. Did they give a date, Jeremy, on the split for Alibaba?
The word on the street is sometime before July. That's all we got.
Oh, that's far away. Got it. $560 billion company. Sells of $63 billion. Price to sales 9. Sells quarter over quarter for a 40% quarter over quarter.
Insane fundamental numbers. They're getting better and better.
What? Are they going to be? Amazon doesn't even have these numbers, right?
No.
Wow. Amazing company, guys. If you own this, don't sell it. I mean, you can sell some covered calls if you own 100 shares or more and trade around stuff, but wow, what a company. Honestly, here's my quick rant, and then I'm gonna move through some of these so I can get to everyone's stocks and see if we can set up some going into Christmas week. But I absolutely hate losing on day trades on names like this that I want to own longer term. Just know that it drives me crazy when I do that. Just had to throw that out there. So here is Eventbrite. This is another one, right? 2 quarters down. Great push here. Pulling back into some levels. Honestly, I'm not sure that I would have expected a pullback into here. But yeah, I would buy this in the dips, maybe right under this 20 area here. Don't love how today ended, but again, a lot of weird stuff happens on option expiration, especially at the end of the quarter. Here's your weekly on it. If you look back, it pretty much ranges every single week into a candle. And so I would just come back with that same idea, maybe something around 1980 and see if you can have a stop down here and catch that quick range for a quick swing trade. If you're looking at investments, I would have to take a look at the fundamentals. I'm not sure what edge Eventbrite brings to the market. 1.7. Wow, it's still not super cheap. Don't like it. I don't like it fundamentally, but it's at a good place with a decent short float that you could get a pop. I'll go ahead and tell you guys, very rare chance that I set something on Eventbrite, but there are things that are starting to check off the list here. So I don't hate it. See how it's trending up here. Good earnings, 2 earnings cycles down. It's went on a few dates with Miss 200, or for you beautiful women out there, Mr. 200. Or whichever, honestly. But this may be a better day trader if we get some levels than something I want to try to swing trade around. So we'll watch EB. Here's WYNN. Just a shout out to Mr. Mike Ramsey today, mainly because You guys know that I love and am kind of obsessed with volume. And today he threw it out in the chat and he said, where was it? He said, hey, big volume spike on WYNN. So you can see right here on the 1 minute, the volume spike came into this 140.50 push. And I said, ooh, those are some levels. And it got a little volatile. But where that volume came in, traded down and kind of trickled down into the end of the day. So shout out to him. And that was really it. Just want to throw that on the list, say shout out. Probably due for a pullback now. And those are some of the intraday, like if you're looking to hybrid trade, say like if you're looking to short WYNN for whatever reason back into this, those are the intraday signals you can use for what I call like a hybrid type trade. You know, you can day trade or size in based off day trading levels for a little bit longer term, maybe a 3 to 5 day trade. Also, it's into resistance here, so it makes sense. Then it says, can you trust the Chinese numbers? And Jeremy says, I think so. Valid point, but at least on this size. Yeah, I think with BABA, you can, mainly because BABA's under such a microscope. With some of these other names, I don't know, maybe like the IQs in the world and stuff like that, maybe not as much. But with names like BABA, where you have a lot of institutional money, they're really going to be kind of under the radar, right? I mean, by under the radar, I mean not like flying under the radar, but like under a microscope. And so with market caps that size, to Jeremy's point, I think you can, because you have enough critics out there. I mean, come on, it's almost 2020. Everything you do is going to be thrown out on Twitter or in the news. So I think great point though, fantastic point on the Chinese number stuff. So for you folks that don't know, they don't have the same regulatory processes as we do. So sometimes they lie. All right, you guys want some examples? I mean, so you don't always just know it. I'm not saying Neo like lied about anything. I'm just saying sometimes their numbers aren't. They're not penalized as harshly for some of their numbers. So here's ROKU. Dustin and I were talking about this. Dustin has a swing trade on. Dustin, first of all, thanks for always sharing and throwing out your numbers. I know trading's hard, and I love when people throw out their numbers because it'll make you a better trader, but also it's easy for me to say, hey, I made 6 R's on this trade, but to throw them out at first, love it. But yeah, ROKU, nice pop yesterday. I did not love how it closed after that pop. But again, we talked about this a little bit today. Had bad news, kind of shrugged it off. I think ROKU goes higher, at least back into 150 because of that. But I don't like these last 2 days where it got that pop, closed down here, and it traded off this right here. It's tough. ROKU's a tough trade. I think I'm just going to hold off on it and leave it to the professionals like Dustin for now. I legged into it. I love it, Dustin. Love legging into trades. Albert says, Baba, CEO, Mr. Ma, oh, did he really? Rumor has it he was forced out by the government. Huh. I did not know that. I'll have to look into it. I did not know. Was that today? Wow. Yeah, I did not know that. Here's Cisco. So Cisco lagging a little bit. Same thing here, you know, since we're on this trend line theme. I mean, we could make up some trend lines, right? Trend lines are as good. You know, so we're kind of in this channel right here, somewhere in here. Dustin, I know you're a range bound trader, so this would be selling. You know, you can start buying into these ranges back down into here, but with it under some of these major moving, that's the weekly. Hold on, let me go to the daily. Yeah, with it under some of these major moving averages, I hate buying these. Oh, this is actually getting and holding above this channel now. So, you know, if this is your thing for some of these channels, I don't actually love this channel that I'm drawing here. But I would definitely wait for something back into 46. And again, folks, with the markets up, be patient. We've seen this happen time and time again. We get all happy, everything's working, and as soon as you add, all of a sudden you made 6 R's on your swing trades, and all of a sudden you lose like 3.5 in one day. And so I'd just be patient and let some of these pull back into these areas. But on Cisco, would definitely let it come back into this channel. And the fact that it closed above and held above it right here maybe means it's not going to come all the way back down here. But I would definitely look for something, you know, 45.50-ish before I look for a trade on Cisco. If you want it only longer term, I think if you get a pullback in here, great place to you know, maybe sell some puts. And Jeremy said, bingo. Nice place to take some profits, chill out. Jeremy has rules for this, and that comes with experience, right? When like all of his swing trades are up, he's like, hey, maybe now it's time to just lock it in. Will you miss out on profits? Yeah, you'll do that every single time. But it's what can you do over 100 times? What can you do over 30 years? Whatever it is that matters. And I think that's the right thing to do. And that, folks, that's why I'm really kind of legging into some of these trades right now, like the Beyond Meats, the iRobots, instead of trading these that are at all-time highs. Maybe if the markets sell off, I don't think the money actually leaves the markets. I think they rotate. And I think they would rotate into some of these names, maybe the ZSs, Workdays, things like that, or maybe some of the defensive names. GIS, General Mills. I know Jason looks like Procter & Gamble a lot. So just some ideas, right? Man, look at all those lines I have right there. Ken Freeman says to all panelists, or I will say there's been a few. Oh, has it really, Albert? Huh. Ken Freeman says, I hear the Chinese government might take over Singapore too. That's too political. But I should have read that first, right, Ken? It's okay, Ken. I say things all the time that's probably controversial, but you guys know that I'm not very political, and I love everyone, so it's all good. All right, team. So that's that list. We do have a few minutes left. If you guys want to look at anything else, I'll let you guys know if I'm setting anything up. I don't like SQ right now. I do like Shake Shack. So if you guys do not have exposure to Shake Shack, and since we've been on this fundamental train, why not look at some fundamentals on Shake Shack? 2.3 billion. What? I love Shake Shack. You guys would think the way I talk about food, if you saw me in person, you'd probably think, or if you hadn't seen me in person, you'd probably think that I weigh at least 400 pounds, but I'm not. I just fast when I eat healthy. Anyways, price to sales for sales quarter over quarter, 32%. There's a high short flow here. So someone is maybe speculating on something that we're not. But I love this sales number. I usually do discount some of these food restaurants because they have other risks that say like a technology company would not have, right? Ask Chipotle about salmonella or whatever they had. Oh, Dustin, you did ask me that. So yeah, looking at the fundamentals on Shake Shack as well. Let me just put this into perspective really quick. Sales quarter over quarter, 31%. So what, they'll double in like 2 years, compounded. And so, if I just look at that, maybe even if this is what, a $5-6 billion stock, it's at 100, somewhere between 100 and 120, makes this a $5-6 billion valuation. Why not? Why not? So we'll see on that. So really quickly on some fundamentals with BlackBerry. Dustin, remind me, what was it that you said today? You said something about EBITDA on it. So 3.6 market cap, that's probably going to be a little bit higher because it's not updated. Price to sales looks good. Even relative to that, it's not bad. Huh. They called an upgrade for Bank of America. Albert, I love all food. When I order from Shake Shack, though, I spend like $30. I really do. Dustin says, I can't understand why they are so high off of a so-so earnings report. So Dustin, just a couple, and anyone, it's all about expectations. And I'm not sure if they did they guide down? So it's a mixed Q3, so stock rallies after earnings, but report still leads with, okay, so this is what you were looking at, right? Non-GAAP numbers. So here's what I like to do, Dustin, is because when I focus on one thing, I used to get really married to those. And so that's why I have the checklist now. And so I can form a thesis or opinion, but I want multiple criteria. And so if something like BlackBerry is trading like this, it tells me more than likely other people read the same report and maybe they're shorting or whatever, but my thesis is wrong. And although it may not be a bullish trade, it may not also be a strong bearish trade at that point. So what I'll do is say let's say like today on US Steel, right? It wasn't even earnings. They just came and guided out of nowhere, just came and guided down. And the reason I was bearish this was because, hey, if they're guiding down out of nowhere, a lot of people probably weren't expecting that. And to be honest, I expected a little bit more of a move than that. But I'll keep an eye on this one over the coming days now, because I think this could be a fantastic swing trade. And actually, this may be one to keep an eye on, because I think it probably trades down to 10 again at least. And so what I was looking for was some confirmation today based off my thesis, based off the fundamental stuff. And so I could say, oh, tax loss harvesting. I could do intraday levels, guided down on earnings, and stuff like that. So to answer your question, Dustin, I don't know, man. I really don't. But my thesis, if I had a short thesis, I think it's off for right now. I would just dismiss it. And that's why I always do, like I said, have 5 criteria. If you can check 4 of the 5 off, make the trade. Good analysis, though. This is good stuff to pay attention to. This will start to give you a really big edge the more you're trading, especially longer term, and even some stuff like Roku, things like that. This says loss 0.6 on BB short today. Almost wanted to hold it at close. Decided that since I was not sure why I shouldn't hold the short. Exactly. If you don't know why, or you don't have a plan going into it, don't hold it. Take your 0.6R loss. That's so easy to recover. You saw me recover. I was down 0.88 today, and it just took 1 trade, right? So very easy to recover from. Always manage the downside. All right, let's take a look at MAXR, and then, oh man, here it is, folks. 2 earnings cycles, check. Is this thing trending up? Check. That looks like institutional buying. How many times did it need to go on the date with Mr. and Miss 200? Actually, only 2. 1, 1, 2, 3 or 4. Man, just a great look. This one was losing money though, right? So it wouldn't have fit my criteria. Or not losing money, but sales was declining. But if that was the one thing that didn't check off, and now, of course, everyone's coming in and upgrading this now. So let me go back. So Nitro says, what do you think about MaxR? I came in late, so you may have already covered. I have not, Nitro. Nitro, are you in this one, or are you looking to, get in a position? Okay, so first of all, I'd follow your plan no matter what. If it's a long-term investment, I think this is good. I mean, now your trend's starting to accelerate. Keep an eye on this 10 simple here. I could go to the left of the chart and see where people, yeah, you know what? I like this. I really do. When you're that far ahead of it, you could afford to hold on to it a little bit. Sells 1.9, market cap of 8. Yeah, I think I'll hold on to it. It's catching some upgrades. You did the hard work back here. Sometimes these are the trade/investments that make your trade. When I say make your trading career, I mean, kind of give you that cushion at times. But I will tell you, most of my big winners, like this one could be on MAXR. I traded around or lost, 3 or 4 times before I was able to hold for the big move. So no matter what, stick to your plan, but it looks really good. I'll just say that. I'll leave it like that.
That's very true.
Yeah. So good stuff on MAXR. Nitro said wanted to add more if it dips. If that's in your plan, absolutely. But if you want to hold this one longer term, I wouldn't add on it until it really gets up here. All major moving averages turn, and you really get some acceleration, catches a few upgrades. At that point, everybody will be jumping on board with you. And you adding on some of that will turn into just very simple, very stress-free. Yeah, good stuff on that one. Good stuff. All right, guys, let me scan through the chat really fast and make sure I didn't miss anything. And if you guys have any last-minute requests, let me know. But congrats, Nitro. Fantastic stuff. Ken says, Blake, did you record a video of your FinViz fundamental checklist? No, sir, but I am staying in Colorado, not going home for the holidays. So I'll definitely have some time between the slopes to do that. So absolutely. Yeah, already in that one. Jeremy said a lot of people already in that one. And really quickly, we'll hit Boeing and Peloton, and then we'll call it a week. We'll call it a year, and we'll call it a decade. So here's Boeing. Here's the thing with Boeing. I'm buying on all dips. And it is a $328 stock, so I have to be careful. I'm not selling puts on this one, right? Because if I get put one thing, it's 33,000 in buying power, so it's probably not one that I'm going to be selling puts. But I'm absolutely going to add long term. It's Boeing. They're going to be okay. Bad news is often an investor's good friend, but this may be due for a real look at that head shoulders a steep pullback. And so I would keep an eye on even companies like Boeing sometimes can pull back 40% off big runs. So maybe something in this area, maybe something around 300. But right now, the way it stands with this pattern, big run on the weekly, all this news, I'd be a buyer down in here. I would start position sizing around this one. And I'll keep an eye and see if, a swing trade sets up. But for now, yeah, I wouldn't necessarily touch it. Oh. Are you in Tahoe, Dustin? And then really quickly, okay, so Jeremy, yeah, just to reiterate, Jeremy did exit the Peloton trade. So here, we all have a thesis, right? Holidays, IPO. The fundamentals don't look like terrible in this high short float, but you also need price action to confirm that. We can manipulate earnings. We can cut costs. We can release whatever articles we want. But people talk with their money, and charts represent people's money and what they're doing with it. And so you always want the charts and the technicals to align with your thesis. If it's not, don't get stubborn and do exactly what Jeremy did. Take it off, folks. I would wait on other signals for Peloton to confirm. Because this is not beautiful confirmation by any means. So I would just wait and be patient now. I think you guys had the right idea going into the end of the year. For now, I'd just be hands off for a few days. Let this thing recover and see if you can set up new levels. Man, snow's been great this year. It was great last year as well. Dustin, I'm down. I am absolutely down. Dustin, text me. Here's my phone number. Maybe I'll make my way over there. Is Tahoe on the Epic Pass? And Albert says probably will get stopped out. This says should have gone. Yep. All right, team. Anything else? I'll let you guys know if I set up any of these things in or as an official trade. I do like Pinterest, Starbucks. We can find some levels. Love the calls on BIDU. I think that was the absolute perfect play. You know what Jeremy did there? He did this. This is one of my favorite things. Be about right and not right. And that's what he did with his calls. He says, hey, there's probably, I don't know, he probably threw a number, 80% chance this thing's going up. I don't know exactly where. I don't want to get shaken out. I'll do calls. That way I don't have to pinpoint the price action. Absolutely love it. Oh, Heavenly North Star, my favorite Kirkwood. Done. Dustin, I feel a ski trip coming on in our future. Folks, awesome stuff. Amazing year. Amazing decade. And we're just getting started. We are just getting rolling. So thanks everyone for being here. Again, like I said when I came on, I know it's late Friday going into the holidays. So you folks are amazing. Give yourselves pats on the back for being here. Jeremy, awesome doing our first couples afternoon room. And Jeremy says amazing decade, so much coming. Everyone rocks. The Jeremy Newsom happy face and a big woo. I love it. All right, team, until next year and in 2020, we'll be around talking in Slack. But until the next official rooms, you guys are amazing. Love you all. See you then.